inviting the Housing Preservation Project to come here and testify today. You can really break down the proposals and the ideas into two broad categories. One is opportunity and one is need, and they certainly overlap. But I think the first is that we have an opportunity here. It is financially a smart move to invest in rental property, to expand our voucher programs, to expand the availability of affordable housing tax credits. All of these programs, now is the time that we can do that. And we have a lot of community development agencies, nonprofits that want to do that, but they need access to capital, they need access to funding to do it. We have the potential today to access houses and bring multifamily units, single-family units into these affordable housing programs in areas that are close to jobs, close to transit corridors, and other areas where people want to live, and where you come and you raise that standard of living for people who are renting property in Minnesota and the country. So this is an opportunity. It's financially a good move. The second, and this was touched upon a little bit by the first panel, is that by expanding these programs, we're going to create standards and oversight. And sometimes standards and oversights are a little bit too much, and they impair the ability to expand these programs and make them work. But we have right now that competition between speculators and the nonprofit affordable housing organizations. And we found that 81% of the foreclosed properties in the city of Minneapolis had 911 calls. The median, and these were properties that were foreclosed upon 3 years ago, the median number of 911 calls related to that property was 5, and the average was 8. So by bringing these properties into the federal programs and putting them in the hands of responsible owners, responsible lenders, we're going to increase the standard of living for our renters. We're also going to help strengthen those neighborhoods. The fourth is, or the other opportunity and need, is to subsidize scattered site rental. Our community development corporations, our public housing authority, they have experience. And that experience has taught them that it is time-consuming, it's expensive, but the opportunity, what it provides for the renter, far outweighs that, but we need that need. We need the management of scattered site housing to be subsidized in a greater degree by Congress, and Congress could provide that. So we meet up that opportunity and that need, and we access that. And then the final is to loosen some of the restrictions on MSP, and we talked about that in the first panel. And lastly, it's an issue that hasn't been raised by any of the panelists, but I think it relates both to where we are and where we're going, and that's the issue of race. And nobody seems to really talk about it all that much. But in every study that I've seen, in every article that I've seen, the disproportionate impact of the economic crisis, the foreclosure crisis, on renters, on homeowners, has been on communities of color and people of color. And so, therefore, as we develop these programs for scattered site rental housing, expanding vouchers, expanding tax credits, we have to talk about race. And we have to talk about those issues and see it as an opportunity to have a conversation that's long overdue about race, both in Minnesota and the Midwest, and then